classic TV and movie fans, Rick Nineg here. Thank you so much for joining me in my second annual Halloween special, where we're going to be focusing on monsters and aliens. In this one, of course, monsters. We're going to be taking a look at Bride of Frankenstein and a brief look into money. Yes, what some of this cost to make the movie, some salaries, things like that. Things that you will be absolutely amazed thinking of currency or valuation in 1930s compared to 2022. Also, if you haven't seen my previous ones, A Day the Earth Stood Still, as well as Abbott and Costello, or even Invasion of the Body Snatchers, go and check those out. I think you'll absolutely love them. Now, The Bride of Frankenstein was a Universal picture that was released in 1935. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long, and it's a sequel to the original Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. Such a great movie. In my opinion, I love Bride of Frankenstein a little bit more than the original Frankenstein. Although Frankenstein was a really good movie, I like this one a little more. There's a larger expansion to the character of the monster, and just seeing him do a lot of unique and interesting things that we didn't really see him do in the first movie. And then the concept of just building up to the bride, although she's not seen much in the movie, it's still really satisfying to kind of see them together and to see what happens at the end with that brief conclusion of the film. Now, in this one, Dr. Frankenstein and his monster both turn out to be alive from, of course, the first movie. So the sequel continues when we realize that neither of them were killed as was previously believed. Now, Dr. Frankenstein wants to get out of the evil experiment business, let's just call it that, but when a mad scientist, his name is Dr. Pretorius, when he kidnaps his wife, Dr. Frankenstein agrees to help him create a new creature. Now, this is a woman to be a companion of the monster. Now, of course, so much happens in between that, and some of my favorite scenes are between the monster and the blind man in the cottage. I just love all those scenes and them getting to know each other. It's just absolutely wonderful. But we're going to talk about some things that people always perk up their eyes when they hear it, and that is money. For example, let's first talk about how much was targeted for set construction. Again, this is in 1935 US dollar valuation. Now, it came out to $26,000 was allotted for set construction. Today, in 2022 valuation, that comes out to $563,290. Now, the art director, his name was Charles D. Hall. The tower laboratory that he was responsible for, the cost for that amounted to $3,600. Today, in 2020 valuation, that comes out to about $78,000. Now, they spent another $2,000 on various electrical props that you do see in the movie. In 2022 evaluation, that comes out to $43,330. But the big ticket item of the art director's budget was Castle Frankenstein itself, that actual set. That totaled $4,700, which included the entrance and the Great Hall as well. That amounts to $102,000. Now, you may ask, what was the allotted projected budget for the film? Well, at that time, 1935, they projected about $293,750. That today, 2022 evaluation comes out to $6.4 million. Now, unfortunately, they exceeded the cost of the original film, the first film, by over $30,000. That's $650,000 taken into today's consideration. But even the figure that I just mentioned was optimistic, and the final cost of the production of this film approached $400,000 in 1935. That is $8.7 million today. Now, the director of the film, James Whale, he was paid $15,000. Now, what makes that interesting, it comes out to $325,000 in today's valuation. That is a lot more than what Boris Karloff, the star of the actual movie, made. The guy who played the monster, he only received $12,500. That comes out to $270,810. That's amazing that the director made a lot more than the principal star of this movie. Now, Colin Clive, who was also in this movie, who got in an accident, which is one of the reasons why he does a lot of the film either laying down or seated, well, he wasn't a big name at that time for Hollywood standards, and he only made $6,000 for the film. That's $130,000 in today's standards. And then if we think about Ernest Theisinger, he played Dr. Pretorius. How much did he make? Well, not that much. Actually, he made a fairly small amount compared to everyone else, only $3,000 at that time, which comes out to today to only about $65,000 for playing that character in this film. I hope you enjoyed this, looking at not all the actors, but it gives you an idea of what they made at the time for making this film. I think it's just super interesting, and I mean, it's such a great film, especially during this Halloween time, one that you should really watch, one that almost, or I would say does, surpass the original. Tell me what you think down below. Have you seen this movie? When did you first see it? And was it scary to you the first time that you saw it? I mean, there's a really good atmosphere that this film creates, and I absolutely love it. We'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for supporting me, and most importantly, don't forget, be hopeful. Thank you so much to everyone who supports my work on Patreon. David D, Sally N, Gerard D, Greg S, Ricky, Citizen Kane 359, Kevin K, and Vito L. If you want to appear on this list, don't forget to look at the Patreon description in the link below. Thank you.